In this video, I'm going to go through a way of mapping out and organising your answers so that when you come to a larger mark question, you're able to plan what you're doing and you don't overlook anything and forget anything. I'm going to use an example from this year's GCSE Design and Technology paper, and I'm going to give you an overview without going through the mark scheme specifically, because there's plenty more that we could write that aren't in this. So this is really about a technique more than it is purely about the answers, but you'll see how it works. So the question is, the design and manufacture of products has an effect on our planet and our environment. Analyse and evaluate the issues a consumer may consider before deciding to purchase products. Give examples in your answers. Now that's quite clear, but to make sure that I don't forget it when I'm feeling a little bit stressed, or if I'm trying to organise my thoughts, I'm going to use highlighting, or you could underline to get my keywords and my command words in. So the design and manufacture of products, obviously a key bit. How it has an effect on our planet and our environment. I'm going to make sure that I analyse and evaluate, and then to make sure I get all the marks available, I'm going to give examples in my answer. All right, now then what I do is on my fishbone diagram, I just sketch that out, and then I write the key point at the front, the beginning of it, issues a consumer may consider. So I haven't written the full question. Depending on how long the question is, you might want to. It just reminds me of what I'm planning on talking about. Then I'm going to have an introduction, followed by a key point. I'm thinking about the 6 R's. What are my finite and renewable resources that I can talk about? I'm going to think about how the products and the components can be disposed of. That's my waste disposal. I'm going to consider how biodegradable, how they break down into their natural state some of those materials might be. I'm going to consider how the product can be made to last a little bit longer to make sure that it isn't being disposed of. And then I'm going to draw a simple conclusion. So I'll go through that on the next page. I'll go through setting that up in a little bit more detail. And as I say, I haven't done I'm not going through the mark scheme here. I'm giving you some examples that you might use, and this is the fishbone technique. That's a really good way of mapping it out. Now, of course, if you forget something and you've got this somewhere on your page, the examiner may well look at it and go, actually, that person knows what they're talking about. So we're going to start with an introduction. Consumers want products that do not harm the environment because our climate is changing. We need to use different materials that do not use up non-renewable resources. So the examiner knows you know broadly what you're talking about, even without being specific at the moment. Then I'm going to go on to talk about finite and renewable resources. So next paragraph. The raw material for polymers is crude oil, and lots of our power is created by oil and coal. Those are both finite resources. They're going to run out, can't create more. And also then I start talking about energy used to make the products. Okay, making it from renewable materials, so I'm giving the alternative, and I'm being specific. Remember, you've got to give examples. So of renewable materials such as wood, there's my example. Oil and coal, they're examples. Then I'm going into waste disposal. It's made from a material that can be recycled or repaired. This means that the product won't just go into landfill or be taken abroad and disposed of there. By labelling the materials the product is made from, it can be disassembled and sorted into categories for recycling, such as polypropylene. So increasingly, we're expected to see on the package what the material is that it's made from, so that when it gets sorted, polypropylene goes with polypropylene, mild steel goes with mild steel, so we know how to recycle it the most effectively possible. And again, I'm giving an example because that's what the exam board wants. So I'm saying parts of a bike. We all maintain and keep our bikes going, so it doesn't go into landfill. Biodegradability. If designers choose materials like card and wood that will biodegrade, it doesn't matter if they're disposed of as much, because they will break down naturally. They don't cause harm to the environment in there sitting in landfill. They can be biodegraded really easily. Product lifespan, that's making sure that the product lasts for as long as possible, because obviously once you finish using it and you start throwing it away, then you have to reproduce it, you have to create a new one. So by making products which are repairable and have components that can be swapped out, you make your product last longer. It means the product doesn't break, doesn't have to be replaced. An example of that is a Dyson vacuum cleaner. I recently had a part that broke on my vacuum cleaner, and they have a really good aftercare service, so I was able to order the part. I had a PDF that gave me the full instructions about how to replace that part, although it was quite complicated. And there were video resources online from Dyson, the company themselves, and that meant that product was put back into life rather than having to be disposed of. the example I'm giving here is electrical products such as phones. Same, you know, when your screen smashes, you don't necessarily replace your phone. You get your screen replaced as cheaply as possible. So there's an example. And then I draw a little bit of a conclusion at the end, talking about customers wanting to have something which they know is environmentally friendly as far as possible. And that often comes in the labelling and the packaging that manufacturers provide for their products. Okay, so that's my example. It's not an endless example. There's plenty more you can talk about. But really, think about the fishbone technique as a method of organising your thoughts and giving you broadly a sequence of activities that you're going to talk about to organise your thoughts during an exam. Okay.